Hello and welcome. The other day I had a really good conversation with a friend, Diego Oliveira, and in regard to the Bible and quantum healing. And we got talking about a few other offshoot topics. So we discussed Jesus and Mary Magdalene and Christ consciousness and a few other topics in there as well came up. But what I've done is I've condensed the two videos that we made and put them into one for YouTube, so that you can view the whole thing in one sitting if you choose. There are obviously topics that are quite sensitive, particularly when it comes to social media. So I'd be super keen to hear your thoughts on any of the topics that we speak about. And I welcome all your opinions because, everyone's opinion matters. Everyone, holds a truth in their heart of what they feel is, correct. And what I will say, though, is that my discussion about Mary Magdalene is something that I wouldn't have discussed 2 years ago. So in terms of her works and, the person that she represents and the archetype that she represents, she isn't someone that, I resonated with a few years ago. It took a lot of peeling back of conditioning of my upbringing, growing up in a Roman Catholic situation where my family dismissed Mary Magdalene in a very big way. And so for me, it took a long time to sort of like peel back those layers to be able to talk about her at all, So I do welcome your thoughts. Please be respectful, because I say that with all love and respect, because I know myself I've been, in a place where I wasn't open to hearing about her. So please do be respectful, but at the same time, please do be honest. I do welcome your thoughts, because I do feel like it is a discussion that is perhaps really warranted and really needed in our society. And I do feel like with the divine feminine rising, I think it's really important that we do talk about her and many other divine feminine archetypes as well. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this video, and please do comment. I'd love to hear from you, and I'm sending you lots and lots of love and all the very best. Enjoy.
And we were discussing about the relationship that we have with God, and what is the relationship that you have with God. And I would like to ask you if you have found any interesting point in the Genesis, why you are studying it, and what is the course that you're doing, and with who and why you're doing it. So there are all questions,
Oh, yeah, thank you. Oh, so good to chat. Well, to be honest with you, at the beginning of the year, I had a sort of a calling to read the Bible. And, like growing up as a Roman Catholic, you would think that I would have read the Bible, but I actually didn't read the Bible much at all. And, I didn't have a copy of the Bible even. I remember having a little prayer book or a little holy Bible, just a little tiny thing, with little pictures But to be honest with you, I never really remember studying the Bible. And when I was at school over here in Australia, I ended up going to a state school. So I didn't go to a Catholic school and learn the Bible. So just recently I had a calling to actually read the Bible. I've done the last 7 to 8 years, I was doing quantum healing, energy healing, and I'm always connected to God and God's source, But I think I had to do like a big roundabout to come back to the Bible and just start sharing, learning and sharing information on that, because there's so many great things from the Bible, but for some reason, there's so much good information and prophetic information, but there's so much that's actually lost as well. And this is what's being uncovered at the moment, the information that's been omitted, the information that's been misinterpreted over the years. As we were discussing before, the Bible, as with the Torah, it was written in Aramaic or Hebrew. So in order to actually translate that to English is quite difficult, because Aramaic is actually hieroglyphics. So, it's just not a straight translation. So straight away, you've got human interaction, you've got human opinions, and lots of different people's projections onto it. So I do feel like, as much as I've been enjoying reading the Bible, it's only been this year, I have to be honest. So it's not very, very long. And I have enjoyed it. But at the same time, I've also found it very so enlightening, but also a little bit out of frequency, because it was written so long ago. I do feel like it's quite dusty in some ways. And I think that, maybe it's time for a revamp. I'm not sure, but then that's going to be another translation again. So I think we always have to use our discernment. That was the big key that was coming through by being called to read the Bible, was to enjoy what the prophets had spoken, but also use your discernment 100%, because there is so much translation and lots of stuff that is missing. And the course that I'm doing at the moment is actually called the Essenes course, and it's an 8-week course run by a lovely historian over in Wales. And I've just completed it. And the Essenes were the community of people that walked the earth with Jesus. So they were prophets, and they essentially did what he did, learned how to master ascension and bringing in light codes. And so what I've known about the Essenes is their works have actually gone missing. We can go into all the trials and the witches burned at the stakes, be it men or women, priests, priestesses, both, and there's all this information that was lost along the way. Like, for example, the Dead Sea Scrolls, that were then uncovered in 1947, so they're resurfacing now. And this is all this information that I think should have been in the Bible, to be honest, but it didn't get to go in the Bible because all that information it was either burned along with a lot of, God forbid, some of our ancestors, or a lot of our ancestors actually, but it was also hidden, because that was the safest way. And that's where these Dead Sea Scrolls were hidden in big jars, big urns, and only uncovered in 1947. And then, of course, some of them, when they were uncovered, some of them were actually burned because they were used as kindling for, fire, because it was paper, So, but we still have some of this information. I'm not too sure exactly where it is and where it's located, but the information is available, and I feel like we need to start integrating all the information and being I just feel like there was thousands of years of hidden information and this patriarchy system, and now we're having this rise of the divine feminine, not as in women, just the divine feminine coming through men and women, that's coming through, the information that pertains to stars, the earth, the sky, the water, everything combined, and it's all coming to the surface this year. And I think this is where we need to integrate and bring everything together. Like you're studying, the Torah, I'm studying the Bible, and I feel like we need to integrate all of that, including energy, the universal laws, and I just feel like that is where we need to go moving forward.
Yeah. Do you say definitely that's the way in which we have to move all together? And I believe that in order to reorganize our identity, which is quite confused and fragmented all over the place for everyone, there is few claim in the Bible, all over the Bible, in the New and the Old Testament, in which God, which Jesus and other prophets say that we are following the law of the man and not the law of God. And the law of God are within the 10 Commandments. So that's the way in which you're supposed to live. And they're good. So the 10 Commandments are like a good way of living. Like you don't steal, you don't kill, you don't lie, you don't betray. So that's a good thing. Yeah. You can consider them like dogma, but actually they're a good way of living more than dogma. And you mentioned that you are a quantum healer. Did you see any of your did you have any experience as a quantum healer that you can somehow describe or how can I say it? There is any of your personal experience that you discover in the Bible that there is some match between your direct experience with the life as a quantum healer and the Bible and the notions that you collect in the Bible, what you are studying, or in this period while you are studying it?
I guess I suppose the Bible probably doesn't mention it as much as what the course that I was doing, the Essenes, when Jesus was alive. And so what Jesus and the Essenes, the community of Essenes were doing was they were learning to embody light. They were learning how to ascend in that lifetime. And so as a quantum healer, I work very closely with Jesus, and he's one of my main guides in the spirit realm. So on so many occasions, he's come to me and he said, Anne-Marie, I'm not special. Okay, what I do is what you can do. This is what everybody can do. We're all here to embody the light and ascend in the lifetime. And it's not, so he's saying, it's not me coming back to earth, me coming back to save everybody, as one man, one person in one body. It's actually the Christ consciousness that he learned how to embody Christ consciousness into his body. So he is the metaphor for what we are able to do, what's available to us, as every single man and woman on this planet is able to do exactly what Jesus and the Essenes did, which learned how to basically connect themselves to, which is what I do in quantum healing, is connect to God's source, connect to higher self, connect down to Mother Earth's crystalline grid, create a big pillar of light, and bring that constantly through your body, and connecting with God on a daily basis. And what ends up happening, because we've, as from childhood, a lot of us have been wounded for various different reasons. We've, there's the people pleasers, we could go on forever, but, as for me, I'm 47. So I started quantum healing when I was 40. So for 7 years, I've been sort of like undoing and peeling back the layers of sort of social conditioning that has been put on me for the first 40 years of my life, So this is what quantum healing is all about, actually bringing in the light to the body and accessing the dark parts and alchemizing and, noticing where there's darkness, where there's ego, where there's density, and learning how to bring light to it, bring love to it. And that's what the Essenes were doing with Jesus as well, was learning how to transmute like dense energy into lightness so then he could then ascend in that lifetime, which he did, obviously ascend. But what he was trying to, in quantum healing, what he wants us to remember is that there are many, many ascended masters, not just Jesus. We've also got Saint Germain, we've got
I heard that.
So essentially, through quantum healing, I think
probably were master, all the mystics were, master,
You've looked at that sort of, you've looked at those people too?
Some of them. Perhaps Rumi or the Buddha or some of the Italians. There was a man that passed away not long ago. That it was his name was Padre Pio, and he apparently people by standing close to him, they could heal from cancer, deep. So, and it was very powerful. As I said before, Ramaha Maharshi was one of the sadhu that he did meditation for a very long period of time in a cave on his own, and then he opened up himself to the others so that people, they could go and visit him. Rumi, you need to stay on the other side. You can stay there.
You've got an audience.
And he was wearing the uniform from Jiu-Jitsu.
From school today, or?
He went to school. He got to school in Matacana. Do you know? Have you ever been here in New Zealand?
No. Oh, I have actually. I've been to the North Island. Whereabouts are you?
I'm in North Island. I'm like 70 kilometers north Auckland.
Oh, okay. I've been to Napier, so very close.
Yeah, very close. Yeah, Napier is a little bit down. Yeah, very close. And so I took him to school and then to Jiu-Jitsu. He goes to Jiu-Jitsu a couple of days a week.
Nice.
And he likes it in some place, not everywhere, but he likes it.
My boys did Jiu-Jitsu as well.
Oh, really?
Actually. Yeah, they did. And
are you a mom of how many kids? One?
Two boys. I've got a 16-year-old that's turning 17 next month in April, and then I've got an 18-year-old, and they love jiu-jitsu, love it. Actually, because they did it before we went to Brisbane, then we moved to Brisbane for a couple of years, and now we've moved back, so they're going to start up again, which I'm really looking forward to, because the guy that does actually take the course is just lovely. So he's just a nice role model as well, just very balanced. I like jiu-jitsu though. It seems a little bit more civilized than some of them, some of those hardcore martial arts.
Yeah, it's it is a controlled environment. Yes, I would say it's more civilized. You said civilized, yeah. Right,
As opposed to, I'm thinking of those ones, that are in the ring, and I've forgotten the name of it, but yeah,
the MMA.
The MMA, that would scare the heck out of me if my boys did that. I'd be
Right. Seriously injured if you do that. So that quite would be very painful. And I like it, and I like also wrestling, and I think that they are complete sport. So you have to train your body, all your body, and that's good. When I was kids, I did some boxing, but no, nothing else. I did a little bit of wrestling, but not much. And I like to do boxing. Yeah, was nice. Yeah,
it's very good for discipline, isn't it?
Yeah,
and fitness, obviously.
Yeah. And there is a beautiful philosophy, and particularly the teacher here. For example, they are learning. Last year they learned how to do the choke for the first time, and the choke is like how to strangle a person, right? And he practiced with me, so they can really strangle you and kill you. And the coach said, "Look, you're gonna learn how to do the choke. You can do it only here or with your dad back home. No one else. You cannot do it at school. You cannot do it with your friends. You cannot do it anywhere else. Because if you do it and I knew it, and someone come to me and say so, then you won't be able to access the jiu-jitsu anymore."
Yeah, that's so good. You need a trainer that has strict boundaries.
Yeah. He's a good trainer. I like him. He's a good man. So that's it. And there's some good women. Sometimes they train the kids. They are very good women. So, and you can see that they are very, very straightforward and very well trained. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
And it's great when they're older, because then you know that they can defend themselves as well, which is super important. Like they're not, they can walk out in social situations and just feel comfortable knowing that they're safe, which is, I think, super important, especially as a male, who.
Yeah, if you feel you're stronger, you don't need to prove it, and no one is going to hurt you or try to hurt you if they know you. And he knows that he's 7 years old, but it's much bigger than most of the kids, and he feels himself like strong. He knows that he cannot beat the other kids. If someone, he's been doing jiu-jitsu for 3 years and a half almost, so it's it is strong now, very, very strong. And sometimes I publish the video, and so I like to watch him.
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome. Because it's incredible, isn't it? When you embody that knowing that you can defend yourself, you have a different presence about you, and people don't touch you because they just.
It's like, I'm gonna hurt you, so leave me alone. I don't want.
Yeah. No. I know, because Eamon, actually, some of his friends did push his buttons a few times, and he just did the chokehold, or he did the whatever, or he just, and they were like, "Whoa, okay." He's very gentle. He's very gentle. He's a gentle giant, but he was just sort of going, no, you can't mess now. You can try, but don't bother.
Yeah, I think that's very important to know that you can handle complex situations, and physically and mentally. So if you study, that's the way, you study the Bible, for example, you learn how to handle your emotions, learn how to create an internal structure. So become a better person. You go and train your body, you become physically strong. I think the two things, they get together, and probably everyone should go that way. We shouldn't give up on one way or the other.
I think that's such an important point. Hey, we sometimes we focus too much on the spiritual or the emotional, and forget the physical. But it's there's actually the three parts of us that we need to fully integrate, and that's the heaven on earth codes that the Essenes spoke of. It was actually embodying them and bringing them right into the body. I mean, some of us can be in the astral, and we're disconnected from our lower chakras. So it's super important to really reconnect to those lower chakras and be grounded into the earth plane, and be able to bring the wisdom that's coming in from the astral and bring it into the body. And that's where Mary, with the Essenes, obviously you had Jesus, and you had Mary Magdalene. She was the embodiment of the heaven on earth codes. But that's another story because she's not in the Bible. They omitted her from the Bible.
Mary Magdalene was like Jesus' wife?
Yeah, yeah.
Not the mother. Not Mary, the mother.
Mary Magdalene was Jesus' wife, his divine union. And as far as I'm aware, the knowledge that I've received and the feeling that I have as well is that they had children and that there's a full lineage, their lineage. As a lot of the Essenes, there was a lot of divine union partnerships, just beautiful partnerships. So yeah, Mary Magdalene was a healer just like Jesus. She was a prophet just like Jesus. And from the information that I've learned and found out about was that she did some very rigorous training before she even met Jesus. So she was part of like an Egyptian mystery school, and she learned how to, do the healing, all the different healing modalities, different arts. And so when they met, they literally, as a divine union, were able to come together, merge their aura, and they just were brilliant healers. And a lot of people don't, and it took me a while because I grew up as a Roman Catholic, so Mary Magdalene was dismissed, and basically her character was annihilated. So for me, it took a long time for me to welcome Mary Magdalene into my life, So this was part of my quantum healing journey, and that really helped me open up to Mary Magdalene and the works that she did. And so what I've uncovered in the last 8 years was that she too was a healer just like Jesus. And in fact, she came from a very, very wealthy family, and she actually created the income that they needed to do their ministerial work. So it's quite interesting when you go really, far down and start studying Mary Magdalene, and then you can really see why she was omitted from certain texts, and because their divine union is so beautiful. And if people knew about divine unions and sacred sensuality and sacred sex and what they had together, like when two people that are really healed like they were come together, having a pair in that situation just amplifies their energy, their healing energy, like exponentially. Like, so, you mentioned there was this guy, I've forgotten which, was he like a guru or he was an ascended master that you might have mentioned? And he was able to heal someone. People could be in his aura and was able to be healed. So when you put divine union, and there were many of them, not just Jesus and Mary Magdalene, but let's say we talk about Jesus and Mary Magdalene, their divine union together as an aura enmeshed, that was a huge healing opportunity for people. So they used to do lots and lots of pilgrimages and meet with people. And
I have two questions then. And so do you think that Jesus was not an archetype but a real person then? And then the other question is, the Essenes, you call them Essenes?
Essenes, yeah,
So the first question is, do you think that Jesus was a real person then? Because you mentioned it, I guess, not like an archetype. It's not like an ideal person. And then what about the Essenes? Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Were they mystical community, a mystical group of religious Christians people?
Yes, I do believe that Jesus was, he definitely was a person. I definitely do believe he was a man that resided on this earth plane. And certainly now he is an archetype, and definitely in the Bible they use him as an archetype. But he definitely was a person. And my belief and my deep feeling is that, yes, himself and Mary Magdalene, they were part of the Essenes, and the Essenes were a community of people that basically were here to grid Christ consciousness onto this earth plane. And so that was what their purpose and mission in this lifetime was.
Yes, it's different than Jesus as a person.
Pardon?
Christ, you mentioned the Christ consciousness. Is it different than Jesus, or is the same identical things, or we are belong to it, or only Jesus possessed it?
So I think Jesus actually, if you look back in the old text, his name was Yeshua. So his name has been translated differently. So I do believe Yeshua was definitely a person, and then Jesus became the name Jesus was associated with Yeshua, became the archetype. And then in order to, so we knew exactly who we were referring to was the man Yeshua, who was embodying Christ consciousness. Therefore, the name Jesus Christ came about. So that when we talk about Jesus, we're talking about the same archetype, Jesus Christ. And then we know that, yes, that's the man that embodied the Christ consciousness.
So that Jesus Christ is the archetype that embodied Yeshua as a person. Yeah, Jesus Christ is both the archetype and the real person that exists.
Oh, I guess I don't really like separating them, to be honest. Yeah, I just feel like he was a man, and then we have labeled him. I feel like we labeled him.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good. And the consciousness for you is what is the consciousness for you?
The consciousness is bringing the Christ consciousness, which is God's source frequency, bringing it through the body. And that's where I think that's where they mastered bringing every day. So the Essenes actually were very connected to astrology, the stars, the moon, the seasons, the earth. They were super connected, crystals, all of that sort of thing. And they were very, very intentional when they brought through information from the astral, from universal information, and they would be very sacred about it. And sometimes they would fast for very long periods of time in order to create a vessel that was super clean, that only pure essence would come through them. And then they would from there they would write.
Yeah, it's very interesting to say. So I met a guy probably 15 years ago, and he was very fat, and not very fat, he was chubby. So he decided to do a fasting for 40 days. He fast for 40 days. And then he went to a supermarket, and went after 38 days. He said that when he passed through on the area where they said the battery that you put on the remote control and stuff like that, he could feel the energy coming through the body. He could feel it, so he had to walk away. And yeah, I'm sure the fasting will increase the level of your ability to perceive the external world and to feel the external world physically. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Purify your body. And it's hard. I tried to do fasting a few times. So maximum I did 3 days. Generally I do like 24-hour fasting. But
I think my maximum was 4 days, 3 or 4 days like you. It's not easy.
It's not easy. I see that some people, they are very committed. They can do like a long period of fasting. Anyway, I'm sure that's
3 days is better than no days. It's so really, really good. And at the end of the day, I think even if we don't fast completely, even if we're just really mindful about the food we eat, so that it's organic and healthy, I think that's better than nothing. Like we don't always have to fast completely.
Yeah.
This is the problem that we have with society. It has so much, so much food. Like even last night, I had some. I haven't done this for a long time, but I came back from dancing and I opened up. My son had a party recently, and he had a packet of chips, and I opened them up, and they were like so addictive, and I just kept eating them. And then I'm like, there's so much MSG in them because this is where the addiction comes in, and I couldn't stop eating. And then I got to a point I was like, wow, I'm starting to feel different aches and pains in my body now. And I just thought, oh, wow, I needed to do, I think my higher self just wanted me to experience that. It wanted me to actually do that, experience it, see the pain in the body and go, okay, now this is why you don't eat this stuff, Anne-Marie. This is why, so try not to do it, will you? Just try not to do it in future because it's actually really bad. But this is what we live with, this, like even the kids on the weekend, they're having Diet Coke. And I said to them, Diet Coke is actually worse than Coke. If you're going to have Coke, just have Coke, because Diet Coke's got aspartame in it, which is linked to Alzheimer's, which is going to mess with your mind. Just have the Coke. And they're like, whoa, I didn't realize that. And I said, no, and McDonald's have decided to actually use Diet Coke instead of normal drinks. So all of those things has got aspartame in it, and they're literally giving that to thousands and millions of people. Yeah, and it leads to Alzheimer's. But people don't know this.
Yeah. I think people, they don't know this, and that they have to choose between something worse and sometimes something even worse. So that's the two options, between Coke and Coke Zero. So yeah, and it's sad. But I think the world is changing, and particularly this year, I think. And they started last year after the COVID. The COVID was a new, huge impact events, global event, and then affect so many lives, and particularly my life too, and many of my friends' life and my family life. Yeah, well,
it was a pivotal moment for us, wasn't it? Like, it really opened people's eyes, I think. So there was a blessing in all the heartache and the trauma and everything that went on, and and everything that went with it, with the masks and everything that we had to do. Like, there was a blessing in that. There's a lesson in it. Like everything, there's always a lesson in it, isn't there?
Yeah.
So just got to learn the lesson.
Yeah, definitely. We need to learn the lessons, and now the people, some people can shape and change the life of many other people, yeah, in a very short period of time. Yeah. And I have one last question, I think. If you, with the work that you do and with the experience that you have and with the study that you did, if you could suggest something to someone that is struggling at the moment, emotionally or mentally, or because it's in a bad state, in a bad conditions, what would you suggest to this person that needs like something to do in order to recover from an unwanted conditions, an unwanted internal condition? How would you guide that person?
Oh wow, that's pretty okay. Well, straight away, I would say to get help, because I think community and people, to reach out to someone that has been through something similar, because I do feel like community and people are very important. But then be very mindful of, who you're asking for help. Only ask, like, for example, our families are great, but sometimes they don't have the knowledge and skills to help us for what we need. And so if you do want to reach out for help for someone who's been through what you've been through, or, because, there's lots of people like to give advice, but unless they have walked in your shoes, they're not going to be able to help you. So be very mindful of who you go for help. Always remember that you're never alone, that, you always bring in God, because, honestly, I know it seems super simple, but it's super powerful. If you literally pray to God every day, you will get the help you need in every shape or form. And this is what I've learned with quantum healing, is that by bringing in God and God's source, not only will the resources come to you, but you'll start healing your body. Because when we embody God and the light of God into our bodies, we actually are healing ourselves. So all the density or anything that's in the body can be healed through literally connecting to your God source every single day. So that's what I teach, is teaching how to connect to your higher self, which is a part of your God source. I'm just trying to think. So it's someone that's going through like a really debilitating illness, is it? Or debilitating?
Mental or physical condition, yes, I guess.
Yeah. Well, definitely, I always suggest don't do it alone, because I feel like a problem shared is a problem halved always. And, there's so many people out there. And to look outside the scope as well, like don't always look, some people might dismiss me for this, but you don't always have to look to the medical profession. There's holistic coaches and holistic people out there that have literally walked through the fire that you're possibly walking through now at the moment. And, they're the people that have actually got the experience that will get you out the other side. So, this is just my experience, so please take it or leave it, because I was diagnosed with something that I later found out I didn't have. So the medical profession sort of failed me in a sense. But I signed up for that, and I understand that that's, So for 16 years, I was on a medication that I didn't need to be on. So I would definitely suggest getting lots of different people's advice. So not one person's advice, but maybe three, so that you've got a nice overview. But always remember, you're never alone. And just bring in God every single day. And God will actually then, by connecting to God every single day, you'll get the downloads, you'll get, the information through God. And, you'll even get a knock on the door. Like, this is the kind of miracles God does. Like if you're needing help and you pray to God, next minute someone will knock on your door. It could be someone random that will just have information that you need, will be your next step in the road to recovery. And it can be just little simple things like that. But God does perform miracles. I believe it. So I've seen it with my own eyes. So yeah, I guess in essence, that's the biggest thing. Yeah. Pray lots, pray every day, pray every day.
Yeah. I think
And go from there, you know.
Yeah, it is a fantastic way of self-healing, I guess, praying or talking with yourself in a form of prayer. Here in Matakana, there is a woman she's called Veda, and she's doing fantastic job with water. And she's very popular online. And if you can, she can place, I don't know, for example, a word on top of the water, and then she frees the water, and the water takes the shape of the word that she wrote. Or she can formulate an intentions or ask her predictions, and the water will take the shape of the predictions that more likely will occur. So the water have a memory, and as we know, we have memory, we have water in the body, and for sure praying will transform. Also, there are plenty of other people like Bruce Lipton, probably you know him. He explained it very well, that you change your DNA by changing your subconscious mind. And prayer is the way in which you can contact God and allow him to penetrate your body and transform it.
Wow, that's so powerful. And I love the water one because it's actually quite simple. Because if you actually pray, put your hand on there and just put in all the intentions for healing, like you're just literally coating that water, and then you're drinking it. We're 70% water, but 99.9% molecular water, and then you're literally absorbing that into your body. You're becoming that. I mean, it's like what we said about the Coke. You definitely don't want to drink too much Coke because you're becoming that, you know. So the water, but the water with an intention, with that prayer, is so powerful. Yeah, like there's so much to be learned in water healing and water therapy. Yeah, I think I know the lady that you speak about. She's incredible. She's done some research into scrying. Water scrying, isn't it? It's water scrying.
Yeah, I will send you the link later. And yeah, she became very popular because she's doing a very good job with the water, and I think the people should know about it. So if you need, for example, if you are skeptic about praying, and then you see how the water change, but after talking with the water, then you become less skeptic. And if you need more information, then you can try to see and explore quantum physics as much as you can with your own ability and the knowledge that you possess. Maybe you can use someone that can translate from complex way of reasoning to something more simple. But yeah, that would be another way. So to decrease the level of skepticism towards what we consider miracles, something like that.
I love that. Yeah, it is a really, really tangible way of seeing miracle. I love it.
Yeah, it's very true. It's very true. And if someone would like to contact you, and because you help the people with the quantum healing, which is like somehow, would you explain it? What would you do if someone contact you, and how you can help the person? How you can help them?
Yeah, sure. Quantum healing is quite encompassing. So a lot of it is to do with obviously bringing the light into your body, but it doesn't just end there, because obviously when that happens, different parts of you will start revealing themselves to be healed. So I work with inner parts and inner child healing. So it's a holistic process. But a lot of what I tend to do, I used to do one-on-one in person, but now I do it online and over the phone. And essentially, we're chatting. We're just chatting, and it's like a transference. So the work that I have done on myself, I'm able to transfer to another person as well. So if it's a similar thing that they want to heal, just by being in each other's aura, we're able to do the healing that way. But apart from all that, I teach tools and techniques. That's my biggest thing, because I want people to be empowered to do all the healing themselves, so that they actually know exactly how to do it. And for their families, so if their families, kids, husband, wife, they need help, then they've got the tools to show their loved ones, how to do the exact same thing. So yeah, I can be contacted on www.annemariehughes.com.au.
If you need your link, I'll publish it on top of the video so the people they can contact you, or at the bottom in the comments so the people they can click the link and contact you.
Oh, that would be amazing. Thank you. Yeah, that would be amazing. I'm on lots of socials as well, but I think that the website's the easiest one to come through.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. That was such an enjoyable conversation. I think we could talk heaps. We could talk about so much more, couldn't we? Maybe we could do another one another day, actually.
Yeah. I think we can say I can say we can say hello to or bye to each other for now, and probably cut this part because we can say bye to each other for now, and then we can keep in contact, and we see each other again.
Sounds great. Yeah. Sounds amazing. Yeah, it's been so good. Thank you. It's been lovely to chat. I love following your socials. I love everything that you're sharing at the moment. It's just incredible and super inspiring to get me to share as well on socials. So thanks.
Thank you. I just close the recording and then we keep talking. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed that video. It was actually edited by Diego, so thank you, Diego, for editing both of those parts. I just popped them together and I've been able to pop them on YouTube for you guys to view. I'd love to know what you thought. Please do comment below. If you are interested in learning more about the quantum healing side of things, or even learning more about the divine feminine and the archetypes and how they were healing, and please do reach out. My website is annemariehughes.com.au. I do offer one-on-one mentorship, so I'd love to hear from you if this is something that resonates with you and you would like to look into deeper.